Welcome to Reflections of a CEO, where I take you behind the scenes of what it's really like to run a business. So if you're joining me by video, you'll see I'm in my gym clothes. I just got back from the gym, had some thoughts down there, and was like, let me record a little podcast. So I went down there, haven't been feeling too great today. Sometimes I like to go to the gym, get a workout in to just clear my head, but I also do a lot of thinking at the gym, and what I was thinking about today was just how lonely and difficult it can be if you're the CEO and you're running a business. It's something I've been thinking about actually over the last couple of days because of some conversations I've been having and how I've been feeling, and it just gets really lonely and it's really hard. If you're a business owner, you might know what I'm talking about, but unless you actually run a business, it's really hard for other people to understand what you're going through, the difficult challenges you're facing, how you're feeling, the risk you're going through, the stresses. All of those things are really difficult for other people to understand. And by other people, I mean anyone, your friends, your family, your employees, right? Like, people just don't understand it, and it's hard. And that's something I've struggled with for years. And over the past couple of days, I've been struggling with it a little with people on my own team, where it's like it's hard for everyone to understand the risks that you even took when you started a business, right? Like the amount of financial risk and pressure that you're under is hard for people to understand. I don't think anyone can. You can't, in my opinion, right? Like I don't think you can actually understand it until you do it yourself, right? You can have empathy for someone and kind of have that. I don't know. I guess that empathy, right? But like until you're in it yourself, I don't think you can actually. Until you're in those shoes, it's hard to understand. So at the same time, I have empathy for everyone else that isn't in my shoes, and when they don't completely understand and what I'm talking about, I'm like, okay, I get it. You've never been in my shoes, so you don't understand what's actually going through my head, right? And so I even have to work on having patience myself with I'm like, what do you mean you don't understand? The risks I've taken or stuff like this. These are like the things that go through my head, like why I was watching this video the other day. One of these Facebook videos that comes on, and this kid is talking to someone, and he says, why should businesses get so much profit? And he tries to use the example. He's like, it was like a pencil manufacturer, and he goes, we, as the workers, like, you would have nothing without us, right? Like, we're the ones who put together the pencils, and like, if we left, you wouldn't have anything. And so therefore, you should distribute all the profits evenly, right? And the guy nicely answers, but he's like, look, I just don't get what you're talking about, right? Then he goes through this whole argument, right? Which is one, how can you possibly think that everyone should get compensated the same when I, as a business owner, took on all the risk? I had to invest in all the equipment. I have taken all the financial risk. If this thing doesn't work, I lose. My downside is not capped. I lose all my money. I lose everything, right? Versus the employee, their downside is capped. You lose a job, right? But you always get as long as you're working, you get a salary, but you can't go below that, right? Versus a business owner who takes all the risk, not only had to throw in money, right? But they could also lose all of that and even lose more, right? If there's a lawsuit, who gets sued? Not the employee, the employer, right? There's a disproportionate amount of risk that the business owner takes under that. And I think this video is a great example of like people who are not in that position don't actually get it, right? Like the amount of risk. And that's why the rewards, though, are different, right? If everyone wanted to take on that risk, then they could also have the rewards. It's a high risk, high reward, right? And I shared this video with a couple of people, and actually some people commented like, that actually totally makes sense. And I don't even want to be, like, I'm happy to not take the upside because I don't want that responsibility and that risk, and I want to do other things. The part that I struggle with, and I love that, right? And I understand both those sides. The part that I struggle with often is when people don't get that, and they say, "Why should you, as a business owner, why should you get more profit?" And I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that, because I'm like, well, I don't know. The business owner disproportionately creates value, has sometimes put in money into the business, has designed the entire system. Like, there's an increased value to that as the business owner. So therefore, you should get rewarded more. And as an employee, you get paid by a steady income over and over, right? But you're not affected. You're shielded from the risk. So, for example, if a customer doesn't pay the business, the employee still gets paid, right? Every 2 weeks, like clockwork, right? But if a customer doesn't pay, the employee gets paid, the business owner doesn't get paid, right? Unless you're using like VC dollars and this kind of crap. But if you're running just based on like most businesses out there, right? If the business doesn't make money on a cash basis, the employer and the owner does not get paid, right? Like there's that risk of that, right? And so anyways, it just feels sometimes like I felt like this week a lot, just lonely and not understood a lot of times. And I get it, right? I go through these like ups and downs with this, and you get me live, raw, on camera right now, like how I'm actually, my emotions kind of talking here. But yeah, it's hard sometimes when, and it's like sometimes like, oh, I wish people would understand, like, but then you just realize people aren't going to, unless you are also in that position. And then that's why it's easier to, if you're a business owner listening, this might resonate a lot with you. But that's why it's easier to talk to business owners who have, who have been through certain circumstances like this, who have actually lost money, who have gone through not getting a paycheck before, right? Like until you go through that, or experience the risk of potentially doing that, it's hard for other people to understand. So this is kind of a reminder to myself, as much as kind of a reminder to everyone out there. If you're running a business and you're ever thinking these kind of things, you're not alone. And two, there's a reminder for myself, hey, not everyone's going to understand, and that's okay. And I really need to, from a business owner standpoint, have empathy that other people aren't going to understand, because we're not in the same positions, and that's okay. And a reminder to myself to not get frustrated by that or upset by that, even though sometimes it's hard for me not to. So I don't know. These are my like raw thoughts. I wanted to get them off my chest onto here. It'll be good to revisit this at some point down the line, or maybe, who knows, maybe even some people from my team are going to listen to this, and you'll get my real raw thoughts here in the moment that I don't often share, right? But this is the purpose of the podcast, so you get my real raw emotional, or not emotional, trying to remove emotion a lot from it, but my real thoughts here in the moment. I don't always feel like this, by the way. It goes, there's times when it's more triggered, so to speak, and I try, when I'm emotionally triggered, not to react or respond or do things, but I figured, hey, like, let me actually record when I am a little bit emotionally triggered, because this is the kind of shit that actually happens. The shit people don't want to actually record and show. But I'm trying to be more open and vulnerable for any other business owner, or help people on my team, employees that are at companies that I run. You're getting the real, raw stuff. So anyways, those are my thoughts. Sasha's standing next to me. What do you think? I should cover anything else?
No, I think that's really good.
All right, so that's it. That's all I got. Sorry for my outfit. If you're watching my video, just came from the gym. All right, that's it. That's it for this episode of Reflections of a CEO. The real behind the scenes shit. Can't even speak. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, podcast, subscribe. If you want to hear more of these types of things, or if you know a friend who runs a business that you think would benefit from this, and just hearing someone else's kind of like take on it, please share this with them. Let them know they're not alone. There's other people out there like them, or maybe it's just me. Maybe don't share it because I'm the only one who's crazy like this talking. If that's the case, then well, I hope you enjoyed it either way. So all right, guys, that's it. I will see you all next time on Reflections of a CEO.